everyone, it's Jam. Thanks for joining us today. This is another chemistry at home experiment. An experiment that you can follow along with me and do yourself at home. I've never done this one before, and then if you haven't been with us before, when we do these, after I do this experiment, then we record an episode where Melissa explains the chemistry of this experiment. So it's sort of like I'm just flying blind, like a lot of chemists when they're trying to make a discovery of some kind, I guess. Although we're using pretty simple things that you can do at home that can illustrate some pretty cool chemistry in our everyday lives. So I've got a lot of instructions from Melissa, and I'm going to try to follow them to the best of my ability. This is a pretty complicated experiment so far, at least for me. And so I'll be trying to follow and look at the steps on my computer over there as we go. And as always, the dogs will be kind of wandering in and out, so I apologize for the noise. So first thing you'll need is some glasses. These are kind of similar in size, and it helps for them to be tall, I'm told. And get some green leaves in one, and this is a kind of timely experiment. So if you're in a part of the country that does not have different colored leaves in the autumn, then, or they've already changed, then you might not be able to do this until next time, but that's okay. So get some green leaves and then some red leaves if possible. In Texas, this is just now happening where a lot of the leaves are falling, and so it was perfect for me to get some leaves. Put them in similar glasses that are kind of tall, and then what we're going to do first is I already removed the stems from all of these leaves. So now I'm going to cut the leaves into pieces, and I'm going to fast forward while I do that. Okay, we got those all cut up. Some of the other items we will need that we'll need at different parts of this experiment are some isopropyl alcohol or some rubbing alcohol, whatever you can find that's basically, I think Melissa told me that it's just the varying concentrations of alcohol. So rubbing alcohol and isopropyl, that kind, probably the kind of alcohol you might have just hanging out in your house for non-drinking reasons. And then some coffee filters cut into strips. This is just a standard coffee filter that is cut into some rectangular strips that are tall enough to stick out of the glass. If that makes sense. And then I got a half a tablespoon here, and then a little thing just to mash the leaves with. So what we're gonna do next is add a tablespoon of the alcohol to each of these glasses. So just in case things kind of change, here on the left we've got a kind of boring black text cup, which is the green leaves, and then the red IU, my wife's old school, cup has the red leaves in it. So check my notes here. Okay, sweet. So we'll be putting a tablespoon of the alcohol into each of these cups. This is a half tablespoon, so I'm going to do it twice. And now it is time to mash these up, apparently. So I'm going to do that. Now to mash up the red ones. I'm not sure exactly how mashed we're trying to get, so once I started seeing the alcohol kind of look a little bit green, and the leaves kind of started breaking up a little bit, I moved on. They aren't really mashed up, I just kind of, agitated them a lot. So I hope that's enough. Okay, so now that we've kind of smashed up our leaves in the alcohol here, The next thing we're going to do is get some water boiling. Just needs to be some hot water, but so I'm going to put some water on the stove, and we're going to cover our glasses with some foil or some saran wrap or something like that, some clear wrap. So I'm going to put some water on and then start covering these glasses real quick. So we're going to place these, my water's not quite ready yet, but we're going to place these glasses in some sort of pan, but this would help me not have to use so much water, but that you can just basically put hot water to where it gets the bottom of the glasses in the hot water, but not the entire thing, so that basically the area that has the leaves and the alcohol gets warmed up. So once we pour that water, we're going to leave it for 30 minutes. This water's pretty hot now, so I'm going to pour this and just kind of pour a layer into the bottom of this skillet here and have it kind of be warming the bottoms of these glasses. I'm not sure exactly how much to do. I'm going to try to do a pretty generous amount to where it feels like the leaves and alcohol part of the bottom of the glass is definitely going to be getting pretty warm. So I ended up pouring, it's just a little bit below the top of the skillet. I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but really not a ton of water, just about 1.5 inches deep or so to make sure that part of the glass definitely gets hot. So we're going to leave this to have the chemistry going on for 30 minutes. So I am going to go roast some coffee while we wait. We'll be back in a second. One thing I wanted to say is if this part, for any reason, doesn't work for your schedule very well, or you'd like to avoid using hot water if you're going to be doing this experiment with some kids or something, you could actually just leave these overnight covered with the alcohol and the leaves in there. That's something that Melissa said would probably also work. So it'd make the experiment obviously take longer. So yeah, that's just another option. Okay, we're back. It's been just over 30 minutes. And what we're going to do next is take the clear wrap off and actually take all the leaf particles, pieces out, and leave behind the liquid, leave behind the alcohol that, and hopefully, I think, some of the color from the leaves. So we're going to do that now. One thing I'm noticing right now already is that this liquid down here, this alcohol, is definitely green now. So I couldn't really tell looking just through the leaves because I might have done too many leaves, honestly. I couldn't really see that well down in there, but in this case it seems like it ended up being fine so far. That liquid definitely looks green, but I think is what we're supposed to have. So I'm just using a fork and pulling the leaves up and giving the alcohol and liquid that's in there a chance to kind of run down. You could strain it. What I would be worried about is transferring between too many containers, just knowing that you could easily lose some liquid every time you do that. So, and then I'm kind of pressing the fork against the leaves before I dump them in the trash, just to make sure I get some liquid. The liquid that's kind of hanging out in there, out. So I hope that worked. Okay, one interesting thing I'm seeing already is that the liquid at the bottom of this one, what were the red leaves, the leaves look pretty brown now. Not as red as they were. And the liquid itself down there is not very red, it's yellow. So we'll see what's going on there. So here's where these strips come into play. And from what I can tell from Melissa's instructions, it's pretty important that we place these in the right way where the liquid can crawl up them, but we don't want these sticking to the edge of the glass. I think my guess would be that it could affect the way that the liquid crawls up the paper. And so what I figured out kind of during the 30-minute waiting time is if you can take a paper clip and unfold it and then kind of drape it over, hang it over like this, then I think you could hang this on top of it and then maybe even tape the paper clip to the glass so it doesn't move around and stuff, because we're going to be leaving these overnight to do their thing. So I'm going to do that. I hope it works. I did not check this with the chemist, and I hope I don't get in trouble. If it doesn't work out, it wouldn't be the worst thing, because I think one benefit would be that it could prove that I don't know what I'm doing, and so if I try to do my own thing, that it's not a chemist approved thing, then it fails. And that just proves that we need real scientists. But I hope this helps. Okay, I'm placing this one in to where just the bottom of this ends up going into the liquid. And I'm going to fold it over this bar here. I think that kind of worked actually. Yeah, so I'll get you a closer shot in a second, but the part of the coffee filter that is really drawing up the alcohol, which actually is already happening, is not touching the glass at all. It's just a pillar right down the middle. So I think that's a good thing. I think that's gonna help our results. Well, good morning everybody. Let's check on our leaf juice glasses and see what happened overnight. Okay, so this guy is definitely looking green, and it's crawled pretty far up the coffee filter here actually. And the top part is like the greenest part, I would say. There we go. Pretty interesting. I think that bottom part's a little bit greener too, but it might just be because it was like soaking in the juice, but it looks like the greenest part is all at the top. And then, let's see. Same here, look at that yellow. The very top of where it actually soaked up. I wonder if it would have gone further if we let it keep soaking, but I think overnight it was supposed to be plenty. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to leave these to dry to see if it really shows us much more. We can see a little bit more clear picture While it's wet, it might be kind of hard to tell if some parts are kind of yellow or kind of green. So we'll leave it to dry and then come check on them in a little bit. Hey everyone, thanks for waiting. We have finally let our coffee filters dry. This is the last thing of the experiment. So let's check out what's going on here. This is the one that was in the green leaf juice cup. So what we've got going on there is the juice, the color basically crawled halfway up the coffee filter. And when I first got it out, this whole bottom half was wet. So you can tell that there's this green band, and I think hopefully you can see on the camera, the top half is a lighter green than the bottom half. And then there's actually a kind of like little yellow outline kind of along the bottom of the darker green portion, like right on the edge. And it's just like a kind of yellow outline. But so I guess somehow the colors from the leaves crawled up this and then seemed to be kind of separating out a little bit there. So that's the green one. And then on the red leaf juice, there's a lot more going on, I think, at least. Hopefully you can see that there's this light yellow at the top. And then there's this basically orange kind of in the middle and lower half. And then it goes a lighter yellow again below that. And what's still kind of perplexing to me is that these are red leaves. And they ended up turning orange and yellow, the juice or whatever from them. So kind of crazy. So I'm hoping that on today's Chemistry at Home episode that we'll also post today, that Melissa will explain these mysteries to you and me and help them make sense. So be sure to tune in on that episode today. And thanks for following along and sticking with me on this much longer than usual chemistry experiment. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Good.
I think so.